Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV in the house like kitchen sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this evening's video, if you will. It's Tuesday evening, 10:06 p.m. And I was sitting here thinking, I was reminiscing, because I got a couple stories that I actually want to bring you all. And I say, hell, why not bring them both of them? And as I sit and thought back, a lot of people that have been to prison, you can relate to my stories obviously more than people that have never been to prison. So that's the reason I try to paint a picture for you all and break everything down that I can possibly think of so that you can get a better understanding. There's a guy named Mike. Mike was a guy that was pretty cool, laid back, didn't bother anybody. He was one of those guys that knew how to do everything. The plumbing went out, Mike can fix it. The electric went out, Mike can fix it. If the heat went out, the boiler goes out, Mike can fix it. You need a building built, you need something painted. You see what I'm saying? Just anything that you can possibly think of. You need a transmission, a motor built, not put in, built, Mike could do it. You need a sewer line put in, Mike was one of those type of guys in prison. And so much so that they had what you call an institutional hold on Mike, which means if Mike wanted to get transferred anywhere, basically he couldn't go anywhere because the institution is essentially saying we need this guy to run the compound, which was cool with Mike because his family only lived maybe 30 minutes away anyway. So he was able to get visits on a regular basis. He didn't want to go anywhere anyway. See, the thing about prison, they'll just up and move you. It's called an administrative transfer. So you'll just be chilling one day. You might be in the gym. You might be in the chow hall. You might be in your rack. You might be in the rec room playing dominoes or spades or whatever you're playing. And they call you. You go to security or what have you. Pack your stuff up. You're getting, transferred. And once they say it, you have no say-so. You have no, I need to talk to the captain. I need to talk to the sergeant. Man, go get your stuff. It's probably best that you just go get your stuff. The transfer is already put in. The people are already here to get you. And it's just like, that happens in prison. Well, with Mike, as I mentioned, Mike didn't have to worry about that. Mike was in so good that, and Mike wasn't a shady dude. So let me put that out there. He was in good being that he had a skill level. But Mike didn't do any, fraternizing with the police, or he wasn't working with the police or telling or anything like that. As a matter of fact, Mike was doing the most himself, and we'll get into that. Mike, what do you call it? In prison, Mike had the bag. He had that sack. Pause, though. So when I say he had that sack, meaning when he went on visit, his people was bringing in what was, he had tobacco, he had a little weed, and he had spice. At the time, spice was really, really popular because spice, it wouldn't show up as far as, a dirty urine when they drug tested you. Now, weed, obviously, you hit. So, Mike had all three. And week in and week out, when Mike would go to visit, he would bring that sack in. Mike was about, I don't know, I want to say 28, probably about 5'9", 190, long hair, white dude. cool white dude, you know what I'm saying? And when Mike would bring that sack in, that's where the money, that's where the money really, really started to come from. Now, back then, they didn't have Cash App and Zelle and whatever else that they use. They were using green dot cards. So if you wanted to purchase something from Mike, let's just say you wanted to purchase something and it came up to $50. Your people on the outside would have to send the money via green dot card to Mike's people. Mike would get on the phone. They had special code words they used. They didn't really say much. He already had that worked out with his girl, whatever. Mike would get on the phone. She done. Boom. You get the product. So Mike was making a killing. Mike was making an absolute killing. The problem is, when you in prison, you're not going to just march to the beat of your own drum. Now, some people, they attempt to. And a lot of people say, well, I go to prison, I'll just mind my business and I won't bother anybody. I won't fool with anybody. And sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. It just depends on what you into and what you have to offer. This particular case, Mike had a lot to offer. Now, being that he had favor with the COs and with the entire prison yard, because he had been there a few years, everybody knew him. He never caused any trouble. They had no clue that he was bringing in the bag. So, strip searches and stuff like that, they probably just barely pat him down. All right, go on to your cell. Going back to your dorm, rather. No big deal. So that's why I say Mike had favor with the guards, the staff. They bring him little stuff in to eat. He would tell us about it. Obviously, he couldn't eat it in front of us, but, he wasn't eating what we were eating. But all of the work that he did around the prison, they basically needed Mike. Yes, they wanted to bring somebody else in and pay them, however much they would have to pay them. $35, $40 an hour, $50 an hour, depending on what the job was. Mike knew how to do everything. I looked up one morning, Mike was driving the, not a forklift, but the bulldozer. Excavators, all that. Mike knew how to do all of that stuff. So, he kind of played his part and worked his magic to get some of the things that he wanted to get, understandably. Mike was bringing in the work. Like I said, no hard drugs, nothing like that. Just weed, mainly tobacco, and a little spice. Call it Spiz Ice. Now, I know a lot of you are from different places other than Kentucky, so I don't know what you all actually call it, but here, we call it spice. Week in and week out, after visitation, Mike, on a Saturday, his girl would come, or his people would come. On a Sunday, his people would come. So Mike kept the product coming in. He kept it flowing fluently. Well, in prison, if you didn't know, they stopped selling tobacco. I don't remember exactly what year it was, maybe 12, 13 years ago, somewhere right around in that time frame. They stopped selling tobacco. Tobacco was a major, major money maker in prison. You could buy the little buglers, the roll-ups, or you could buy, the Marlboros, the Campbells. I forget the Waves, $2 pack of cigarettes. So, depending on what your bankroll looked like. But nevertheless, tobacco was a huge moneymaker, and they stopped selling it in prison. Well, you can imagine the people that smoke. I never smoked before, so I don't know the feeling, but I can imagine, when you're used to having something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you don't have it anymore. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So even though they stopped selling tobacco was still around. It was still pretty easy to obtain, if you will, tobacco. And guys were making so much money off of it. It was crazy. Because you're gonna pay top dollar for something that they no longer carry. You see what I'm saying? So you had COs that was bringing it in, pounds of tobacco. You had people that was dropping it off. You got drunk. You got so many different methods of receiving the tobacco and whatever else you want. For the most part, it was just easy to get in. I never will forget. A couple guys had pushed up on Mike, and when they pushed up on him, it was more so of a, you gonna get down or you gonna lay down. You can cut us in or cut it out. Mike's whole locker was full, commissary. They give you like a little tote box that was full. His cellmate, which I don't want to say is a cellmate because we wasn't actually in cells, but we was in cubicles. So the guy that was in the cube with him, his entire locker was full. Everything was Mike's merchandise. So he has money going to his people on the green dot card on the streets. And at the same time, if he sold little small amounts like $20, $30, something like that, he'd just give the person a store list. Okay, I want to, I need $30 worth of, cigarettes, tobacco. Give you a store list. Mike will give you a store list. Everything that he wanted, you bring it back to him. And so his locker stayed full. He never had to spend any of his own money. Never. A couple guys was seeing this and they was just like, man, we want to smoke too. Mike wasn't showing any love. Every once in a while, they feel like Mike should have been like, here, man, there's a couple cigarettes, man, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Here's a couple caps, because they sell them in the little caps, the spice and the weed, in little caps. That's what they call a cap. One cap might cost $100. Now, when I say cap, I mean, what is something that I could use? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it's literally like a cap full that goes on. What's the stuff that you put on your lips? The bliss sticks. I think it's bliss sticks. And it has a cap on it, and it's very small. And you pack it in that spice to where it fills the cap, and it's about like that. $100. Mike was making a killing. Was making an absolute killing. But he wasn't giving back. And I'm not saying that had he been giving back, this still wouldn't have happened. But instead of making sure that other people around him was good, Mike kept all the money for himself and didn't share with the community, if you will. As I mentioned, there was a couple times they had, ran down on Mike and told him, hey, you're going to get that out. I guess Mike felt like, man, y'all ain't going to do nothing. Evidently, that's how he felt, because he never obliged to their wishes. One day they called Mike in the bathroom. Mike goes into the bathroom, fresh off a visit. For y'all that don't know, when you come off a visit, you're a, what do you call it? A keister bunny. That's what they call it, a keister bunny. Now, when you keister something, it's pretty self-explanatory. But as I mentioned, I want to paint a picture. You put something, whatever you have, you put it up in you, inside of you. Pause, double pause. And when you put it up inside of you, it allows you to get through the strip searches, even though Mike didn't really get strip searched much. I guess he didn't want to, take any chances, and he was being a little bit more cautious. So he would do what he did as far as keystering or whatever he brought in. As soon as you come back from visit, first place you go is to the bathroom. Sit on the toilet. You got to get it out of you, put on some gloves, go in there and get it. and then do what you do. A couple guys was waiting on Mike this particular day. It was actually 3 of them. Like I said, Mike wasn't a small dude, but he wasn't a large dude. Like I said, what, 5'9", 190, somewhere right around in there. Mike didn't work out. Mike didn't hit the weight pile. He wasn't, in shape or anything like that. So 3 dudes caught him in the bathroom. Get that out. Mike said, I don't know what you're talking about, man. You know what we talking about every week, man. You bring it in, man. You gonna get that out today. Mike was like, I didn't get anything today, dude. It was hot. I didn't get anything today. So as they going back and forth, Mike is adamant that he didn't get anything. One of the dudes just socks him. Bow. Hits Mike. Once he hits him, Mike goes down. Again, it's 3 dudes. It's just Mike. They stomp him a little bit. They're not trying to necessarily hurt him, but, they kick him and hit him a couple times. They grab Mike. This is no joke. They grabbed Mike, held him down, pulled his pants down, pulled his state pants down. They had gloves, so being that they had gloves already, guess what? It tells me they knew that they was going to have to, I'm not going to say they knew, but they came prepared, rather, just in case they had to do this. Pull Mike's pants down. Literally went inside of Mike, where he had the product, if you will, stored at. Had it wrapped in, something real tight. I don't know exactly what his people wrapped it in, but he had it, wrapped really tight. And they literally went inside of Mike's buttocks. And that's just, I don't know who's watching. I don't want to be too graphic, too detailed, too offensive, but that's what happened. Went inside, 3 dudes on one. Went inside, pulled it out. And left Mike where he laid. Mike wasn't knocked out or anything like that, but you could hear him screaming, dude, get off me, get off. You could hear, and Mike had no one to come to his aid. Those dudes literally violated Mike. Now, what I'm thinking is, obviously, I don't think they, literally went inside of him, but they did what they had to do to get it out, put it that way, and took it. And told Mike, anytime that you come back from that visitation, you're going to break us off. If not, this is going to happen every time. Situations like that occur in prison very, very often. Especially when you in a medium, maximum security. Definitely a maximum. But even medium. You're not going to walk around here getting high, feeling good all day long, while these guys are sitting around watching you feel good and make money and have what they want, and you just sit there and say, nah, man, I ain't doing it. Again, you will not march to the beat of your own drum in prison. It's just not going to happen. I'm surprised they even gave Mike a warning. A lot of times in prison, what you see happen is somebody wants something from you, they're going to knock you out and they're going to take it. Even your manhood. No, I've never seen. I've heard stories about that, but I've never seen that. I've never seen that, and I've never been present for that. But I've heard plenty of stories to where somebody wants you, say you owe them something, or, one way or another you're going to pay. You late with a payment, They're going to just knock you out and take what they want. Nothing fair about prison. It was a sad situation. Now, Mike was still there. I ended up getting out maybe 2 weeks later. 2 to 3 weeks later. So I never knew what happened to Mike. I don't know if Mike transferred, which I don't know how he possibly could transfer because he had the institutional hold. But if he feared for his life, then maybe, I don't know. But I know that particular day, they roughed Mike up and violated him, went inside of him, and took everything out that he had. Man, sucked to be Mike that day. Another situation that I've seen in prison. This is story number 2. Actually, this wasn't prison. So let me take that back. I lied. It was in the county jail. It was a dude named Sean. Sean stayed in the hole. I mean, he stayed in the hole. Now, I was on my way to prison, so I was in the trustee pod. The trustee pod is where they send you around to different other cells, if you will, and throughout the jail, and you clean up. You basically like the CO's helper. Serve the inmates their trays. Once they done eating, you go get the trays. You put them up, and it gets you out of your cell. Ain't no boot licking or nothing like that. You just, some people get out to conduct business. Me, I was in the trustee pod, and that's just what it was. It was a dude named Sean, and he stayed in the hole. I used to hate having to go work the hole, because I would work maybe 5 days out of the week, second shift. So I would go in at 4, and we would get off at about 10. I would hate going to the hole because there was no television. Everywhere else, I was able to watch TV. Once I do my work, in between doing the work or what have you, the TV's on. I got the remote control. The COs was cool. They might bring you some food back from the kitchen. ODR is what they called it, from the CO's kitchen, or bring you a coffee, or just you had little perks like that. You could sit there and talk to the people that was in the cells or whatever. Everything was cool. But once you go to the hole, it's dark, it's cold, there's no TV. You're not supposed to talk to the people, but I knew half the people in there, so I would talk to them, but I kind of backed away from it because it was always you trying to put me in jeopardy. Hey man, I need a trash bag. Hey man, I need this, I need that. Okay, well, so you want me to risk? I slid it to him a couple times, but I'm saying you want me to risk being in here with you? I get caught up, I'm gonna be here with you, bro. So I really hate working the hole, because every time I walk in, the cells, like the hole is like, everything is glass. So you can see in, but it's tinted, so they can't see out. But you can see in. But when they come out on a walk for like rec, or to take a shower, or to use the phone or something like that, it's, they see you. Kens! What up, Kens? So, I know half the people in there. So I hated working the hole, and it was a dude named Sean, as I've mentioned like 3 times. I know y'all like, damn, motherfucker. How many times you gonna tell us? Okay, Sean, get to it already. So Sean, he gave the COs hell. When he got his tray, he would say it was a biscuit missing, or I ain't get my proper portion, or I don't want ham today, I want peanut butter. Or I don't want peanut butter, I want ham. I want an extra cookie. I want some extra juice. And when he didn't do it, when the COs, rather, they didn't do it, he gave them hell. Although I had heard about this before, I had never seen it. I'm in the cell, and it's a large cell. It's a very, very large, it's like a dorm. So I'm like on the other side of the cell. And I would say maybe 50 feet away was where I was at. But I'm not looking in Sean's direction. I'm not looking at his cell. again, you can see into the cells. Everything's glass. So if you are old enough to remember the show Oz, at a BC and all them guys, you could actually see everything. It was set up just like those prisons. To whereas other prisons is just it's concrete, so you can't see in unless you actually physically go in or you look through the door, the little window that's on the top of the door, which is very, very small. So at any rate, I smell something. I think I was even on the phone, because you could get on the phone, once your work was done. COs was cool, they didn't care. So I was on the phone, and I get a whiff. It's like a strong odor. And I'm like, what is that smell? Because I don't see anybody. Everybody else is locked into their cells. And see, when you on the walk, you're not, okay, you're in the cell, but you actually have to go, you open a door to get to the walk. So basically, you open a door, and then once you open that cell door, then you have individual cells. You might have 10 individual cells. That's a walk. So to allow the inmate to come out, his door has to be unlocked. But he can't leave the walk area because, as I mentioned, to get in, you have to enter through the door. So in the walk area, you have a phone, you have a shower, you have a couple tables, and you have the television. So each inmate is permitted 1 hour of rec time per day, as long as they didn't get into any trouble or anything like that, in which they were able to come out, do what they need to do, make their phone calls, take a shower, watch a little TV, whatever they need to do. And that actually sucks, because some guys' rec time is not until like 3 a.m. I'm going to call somebody at 3 a.m. Who's up at 3 a.m.? But that's just what it was. So as I mentioned, I smell something. I'm like, man, maybe I'm tripping. So I'm on the phone. Yeah, baby, I miss you, man. I can't wait to see you, man. Yeah, make sure you wear that one dress that I like when you come down there. Okay. Yeah. I need some money, though. I need some money. My commissary is getting low. And so, normal conversation that you have when you're locked up. And the smell becomes stronger and stronger. So I'm looking around, and I'm like, what in the feces? Urban Dictionary. What in the feces is just a polite way of me saying, what in the fuck? So I guess there was no real need for me to say what in the feces, because essentially I ended up saying what in the fuck. But I'm trying not to, I'm trying to watch my language. So it's stronger and stronger, and I get up. I'm like, hey, boo, I got to call you back, man. Something's, I can't take it. Okay, baby. So I get up. I see the guy Sean, as I've mentioned 4 or 5 times already. He's in his cell. He has no shirt on. He just has his bottoms on. Matter of fact, he just has his boxers on. The guy has a towel wrapped around his face, like covering his nose up. The guy is smearing shit all over the window, all over the glass. The guy is literally smearing shit, feces, his own, all on the window. He has it in his hand. Now what he's done is he's taken like a paper towels, gone into the toilet, grabbed it, and he's smearing it all over the cell windows. I am like, what? I almost threw up. The smell was so terrible. You got other inmates, they smell it. They beating on the doors and kicking the glass, and they going crazy because no one wants to smell this. He's behind 2 double doors. At this point, I'm probably 30 feet away. Because, as I mentioned, I was like 50 feet away, but that's where the phone was at. And the smell was so crazy, I couldn't believe it. So I'm looking at the CO, and he's like, he gets on his his radio. Yeah, code, whatever code that they use. He alerts the people. They come in. When they come in, they have to bring the video camera. They have to record it. They have to record his actions, what Sean is doing. Man, they come in. The shit is literally, no pun intended, all on the walls, all on the glass, all over the entire cell. They come into the cell. He puts his hands behind his back. Because he's done it several times, apparently. So he doesn't give them any trouble. He puts his hands behind his back. They have to move him out of the cell. They're not allowed for him to stay in the cell. Now, being that this is the first time I've seen this, I'm the trustee in the pod. I'm responsible for cleaning up everything in the pod. After I serve the trays, I go and get the trays. I put the trays back on the tray cart, push the tray cart out. I go in, I change the trash cans. I give all the inmates the cleaning supplies to clean up after themselves. I have to sweep, mop, make sure that the day room where the inmates are not permitted at, because they have like tables and, chairs and stuff like that out in the day room, but they're in the host, so they're never allowed in the day room. But still, I have to make sure that area is clean, which is relatively easy to do because no one's ever out there. But in my mind, I'm like, man, y'all got me effed up. Y'all think I'm going in there to clean that. I'm not. It's whatever. I'm not doing none of that shit. Well, lo and behold, or little did I know, rather, they can't make inmates clean up is biohazard. So anything, throw up, urine, feces, they can't make inmates clean that up. Guess who has to clean it up? The COs. The COs have to clean it up. Which I wouldn't do it if I was a CO. When an inmate smears, the CO has to clean it up. So they have a biohazard cart that they have to bring in. They have to put a biohazard suit on, and they have to go in there and clean it up. And that's why Sean, oftentimes when he got mad at the COs, or they was picking with him, or they was, giving him a hard time, okay, I got something for y'all. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about nothing. And he would smear on them, because he knew that they would hate to clean it up. So oftentimes COs would give in, and they would just, here, man, what do you want? Within reason. They're not going to bring them a large pizza, nothing like that. But, you want extra juice, extra cookie, here, man, here. I need to use the phone. I ain't been able to call my people. They had a phone that they used, and they would pass it around. It was a cordless phone, but it was tied to the jail. So the way that you called out was the same way that you dialed out on the jail phone. So actually, they had two cordless phones. One phone you could just dial straight out, and the other one you had to call collect. So, he want to talk to his people in the hole. There's no telling when you really get to use the phone. You might have lost your visitation. You can't have no letters. You can't. So, I would imagine it gets a little lonely. I've done whole time, but nothing significant. 15 days or something like that. These dudes is doing months, years in the hole. Not I. I hate the hole. Can't stand the hole. You got guys in jail, man, in prison, man, take me to the hole. Just talking. But, I do all mine in the hole. I do all my time in the hole. Not I. Can't stand it. And that CO went in and cleaned it up as though it was just another day at the office. And as time went on, Sean spent a lot of years, or a lot of time, a lot of months because he was fighting a case. I think it was like a robbery case or something like that. So Sean spent maybe 2 years in the county jail fighting this case, and spent all of that time in the hole. And he smeared several times after that. I seen one other time that he smeared after that. And he would do that just to mess with the guards. Or if the guards was picking with him, okay, I'm going to put y'all to work. That's what he used to say. I'm going to put y'all to work. Disgusting things that you see in jail. Disgusting things that you see in prison. That's not normal. But in jail, in prison, it's made normal. It becomes normal. It's normalized. I'm getting sick now just thinking about that smell. Stay out of prison. Stay out of prison. I don't have time to tell that story tonight, but I promise you I'm going to tell you all the story about when the guy's, what is it called? The colostomy bag? Is that what it's called? His colostomy bag broke. Oh my God. It was a worse smell than Sean's smell. But that's a different story for a different night. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, learned from the video. Feel free to definitely comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I mean, if you're not already subscribed. And be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action, this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive it. Oh my God. I was hungry. I was going to go in. I had me a little Wendy's salad. I was going to go in and eat my salad, but after thinking about this Sean story, I don't even think I can do it at this point. Maybe it'll leave my mind. So anytime any of y'all, I know it gets tight on you sometimes. I know bills is overflowing. I know just your car breaks down. Just life happens. Life happens. Think about Sean literally smearing feces all over the walls, and you having to see that, and you having to smell it. And hopefully that'll snap you right back into reality. Stay out here with your lovely family, kids, friends, wife, significant other, girlfriend, whatever. Stay out here. Real Kens TV. We out.